at the face-off X. This should be a really good matchup. Tom Myers for UMass at one end, about 62% on the season. Jimmy Koida, 56% for the Dragons. This was a great matchup in the first meeting, and we are off in the CAA semifinals. Myers wins the opening face-off, but he's stripped of the ball, and Koida able to scoop it up.
Great effort there, hustling back in the hole, and that is going to be a trademark of all these games. The seniors, as I mentioned in the opener, the seniors, this is their last, could be their last chance, their last game. They're going to give it everything they've got, and that includes chasing guys down off the face-off.
And just about 2 seconds to get it over. Drexel able to do it with Stabbert. And they'll get the first offensive set today. We talked about this Drexel offense in the open. One of the top offenses, not only in the conference, but in the entire country. 13th in the nation. This is Colin Mailman out of the midfield, and he strikes early. A little shimmy shake.
Well, you ask, how are they going to beat Scanoni? Well, I'll tell you what, if you put it off the pipe and in, those are pretty tough to save. Colin Mailman, that's a guy that I think is going to, how he goes, the Drexel offense will go. We talked about their attack being the main leaders, but he does an unbelievable job there of getting that step, getting his hands free, and putting in the only spot where Scanoni can't get to it.
I hope they put some reinforced nets here at Garber Field, because that thing was smoking. And that's a key to watch early on, because Scanoni, he's a confident kid as it is, but when he's able to make a bunch of stops early, that's when he's had some of his best games of the season. Myers won that initial face-off for UMass, of course, was stripped as he was going toward the goal. And once again, Drexel able to win it after UMass had won the initial face-off.
Those are huge possessions, because the face-off, it's not just that those two players at X. It's what happens in the 15 yards on either side as the play continues, and so they got to do a great job of continuing to move the ball up and get it to their attack to get some settled possessions when they get those face-off wins.
So we already met Colin Mailman out of the midfield, able to score early for this Dragons offense. And now we get it down to the attack unit, and Reed Bowering, leading scorer on this team, tries to split two, and it's stripped away by Jeff Traynor. Traynor, physical play around midfield. A big ground ball is brought back into the end. Jackson Subak there, and it's pushed ahead by Sean Scanoni.
I don't know if Drexel has some kind of special back-checking drill, but they have done a great job of catching up every time they've gotten lost by a step.
Chris Conley, did it go? And the refs are calling it a good goal. Ross Blumenthal didn't like it. It was right there along the inside edge of the post, and they're going to give Chris Conley his first goal of the night.
Travis, the way that bounced out, it was a strange bounce. It came out off the pipe, but it slowed down as it came off the pipe. You know what? That never went in. That hit both posts. It was because Ross Blumenthal got a piece of it with his stick, which slowed it down, changed the trajectory. That hit two posts, so UMass got away with one there. And if you're Drexel, that's got to be frustrating, especially Ross Blumenthal, who got a piece, hit two pipes, and never crossed the line.
Coach Brian Volker not happy about that call, as you would expect. And yeah, it just off the post, and then it had the weird deflection because it looks like it may have gotten the back of Blumenthal again on the way back out. Tough break for the Dragons, but UMass has tied things up at one apiece. And remember, the first meeting, it was a great start for Drexel. They got out to a 6-2 lead in the regular season meeting between these two. Weren't able to finish it off in the second as UMass's offense really woke up, but Drexel trying for another fast start this time around. A violation on Koida, gives it to Myers, and another face-off win for UMass, this time able to get possession.
And UMass has to have that sense of urgency. 3 times now they've gotten the ball knocked away as they've tried to transition it up to their offense. They need to have a better sense of urgency once they have that to get it into their offensive end and settle it down.
Quickly out of the box, UMass trying to win the substitution game. It's behind to Conley. First settled set for the Minutemen tonight, the 13th ranked team in the country. This is Ben Spencer getting downhill, gets into some trouble, and it's stripped away. And a kick kicking call.
You don't see the kick in the stick call away from the face-off X very often.
UMass keeps possession, and it's a fresh 80 seconds as well. This is a UMass offense, number 2 in the CAA, scoring nearly 13 goals per game. Surprising considering you think so much about their defense, ranked number 2 in the country, but the offense has been really good as well as that shot sails a little wide.
Yeah, and they've been getting contributions both in front from the midfield and also attack from X. It'll be interesting to see what Coach Volker does here. He talked about throwing some different looks to make their offense uncomfortable. So look for a couple different looks, whether it's zone or maybe bumping a short stick down to cover some of their attackmen.
Philpott shot is saved by Blumenthal. And Drexel a chance to go in transition. This is Harris, the short stick D-midi, down on the doorstep, and Varian with a nice finish on the crease.
Great job by Matthew Varian there, catching his defender, looking at the ball. He sneaks back door and finds that soft spot in the defense. And an excellent feed there. Nice work there by Cam Harris to find him on the inside.
Cam Harris, a guy who is primarily a short stick defensive midfielder, but we've seen his ability on offense. He scored the game winner in double overtime against Michigan earlier this season. Comes into the night with 7 points, and he's got an assist on that pretty feed to Varian.
And when you're coaching players, Varian does a nice job there of finding that green space in front of the goal. His defender had slid, so he found that area, that soft spot, that made it harder for the defender to get back in the hole and was able to put himself in a great scoring place.
Push on Drexel gives another possession to UMass. They've been terrific at the face-off X when it comes to the initial face-off. And now we see if they can get another possession out of it after a couple of early strips after face-off wins. When you think of the Minutemen offense, Chris Conley and Jeff Traynor are 2 of the primary guys. This is Traynor coming out of the box. 4th on the team with 35 points. And he sends it back to Conley. The feed out to Prosek, shot off the side of the net and bounces out to the corner. Prosek able to back it up.
A little bit of confusion there on the Drexel defense in the recovery. They slid and then were looking to recover. That's where Ross Blumenthal, as a freshman, he's had to make big steps in communication this year. So he's really going to have to dictate making sure they get to the spots he wants them.
Traynor gets free, but he can't put it on frame. Conley there for the backup. Traynor, a guy who was 0 for 10 shooting last week against Delaware until he finally got one to go in the 4th quarter. Ended up being the game winner.
Nice little out-of-bounds play. We saw Traynor put his one fist up. They ran a nice little up pick. Saw that last week. Princeton Cornell for the game winner. A little up pick for Clark Peterson. Jeff
of course,
you
had to bring up the big red early.
Defensively, you just got to switch through those matchups and make sure you do a good job communicating.
Kevin Cutnella taken down, and a pickup on the ground ball, and here comes Drexel.
Looks like the refs are going to let the boys play today.
This is Bowering down on the doorstep. He draws the matchup with Sam Eisenstadt. So much made of how electric Isaac Paparo is, especially in transition and causing turnovers. But the guy drawing the top assignment for UMass all year has been number 44, and Sam Eisenstadt does so once again tonight. Paparo now working against Varian.
And Eisenstadt, not the biggest guy, but you can, and certainly not the thickest, but you can tell he's got great fundamentals. He sits down, and that's going to be a key matchup against Bowering. He's going to have to sit down in his chair and play good one-on-one defense. Here's
Marshall King. Didn't play in that first matchup. He was out with an illness, something that just kind of struck him the night before the game. He did not play against UMass in the regular season. That, of course, a big impact guy. This skip pass somehow gets through to Fox. A save by Scanoni. First stop.
Good recognition there. He realized he had a short stick. UMass sent that slide early, tried to find that skip. A great job getting sticks in lanes by UMass to knock down that pass. Nick Fox was still able to corral that and get a good shot off, but big save by Scanoni. You mentioned him getting that momentum. Those are the kinds of saves that a goalie can build off of. When they move, they step to the ball, and they get those big saves. That's how you start to build that confidence. You can start feeling good.
Mulcahy dishes off for Varian. That shot got a fresh 80 seconds for Drexel. Dragons. Varian's bounce shot goes. Drexel with an early 3-1 lead.
We talked about Varian working off ball last time in transition. This time he does it on ball. Does a good job of recognizing a little bit too much pressure by Elcock there. He feels that he has that extra step, and now players are so good at that turnaround shot. They don't even need to square their shoulders to the goal. You can see he takes that extra step, and once he's got his shoulder in front, he just whips his body around into the shot and does a nice job finishing far side.
So another fast start for this Dragons offense. Varian now up to 28 goals on the season. That his second already today. A violation on Koita gives it to UMass again. Now 5 for 5 at the faceoff X. It's the UMass team getting a chance to host the CAA tournament as the top seed for the second straight year. Last year ran the table in conference. This season coming in with just the one loss to Hofstra in overtime. Top seeds in this tournament have won 3 consecutive CAA titles. Towson doing it the 2 years prior, and then UMass last season. This is Ben Spencer coming out of the box. Tosses back to his brother Devin, who tries to find Nick Roy up toward the top, and he's able to corral it. And a tough pass is scooped up there by Matt Klingus.
Great defensive stand there. UMass hasn't been able to get high-quality looks, and if they have, they haven't hit the net. So they're going to want to settle down a little bit and get some good shots on Kitch, test Blumenthal, make him work a little bit harder. Right now he's feeling pretty confident, and he's only made 1 or 2 saves.
Another thing to watch throughout is the pace of game. And talking to Coach Brian Volker of Drexel this week, he said, we've got to win in the 6-on-6. When UMass is able to score in transition, that's when they're at their best. We can get some transition goals, but we got to be able to win in the 6-on-6.
Yeah, and I think you can see the focus that they've put into preparing for that with their ability to, I called it the back check, the old hockey term of get back and support when they turn the ball over. They're clearly practicing that this week because you can see they get on their horse immediately.
And we got a whistle. Fox's pass looked like somebody got under his stick to cause the high pass, but a push call keeps it with Drexel in a fresh 80 seconds.
Another thing you brought up, Travis, you see a couple of these midfielders out there, Spencer in particular, he's going to play offense and play defense, so he's back. He's not a guy that they're looking to get off, that they're expecting their players to go 2 ways. So as the game goes on, look for
King. Pretty feed to Varian, stopped by Scanoni.
Big save inside. Varian again getting underneath in that soft spot. Great look inside. Those are the kind of saves that UMass relies on.
Couple of Canadians connecting there. King, the senior from Victoria, British Columbia. Excuse me, Varian from New York. He's the lone non-Canadian there on that attack unit.
I'm sure he speaks with a Canadian accent at this point.
By this point, yeah. Here's Colin Mailman. If you've seen Mailman play this year, you know his electricity as a Dodger. A little give and go, and King finishes. King and Varian combining, and it's 4-1 Drexel.
And they've got a short stick there on King. He's been covered by a short stick a few times now, so I'm not sure if that's all. I'll have to check if that's something that UMass is trying to do, or if he just keeps getting that matchup in the switches. But he does a real nice job of faking like he's going to pick, and that's what we call a slip pick. It's almost like he's running towards Varian to set that, what we call a razor pick on GLE, goal line extended, but then he slips to the inside, sprints, gets an extra step, and when you got a guy like that, the Canadian, you know he's going to catch those inside shots and finish him.
Coach Cannell told us this week, hey, the message to our team was, just because you're the top seed doesn't mean this thing's going to be handed to you. They can come in and kick your butt, and so far, Drexel's off to a great start.
Kick your butt. He was a little more forceful, but I like the word choice that you used there.
Slightly paraphrased for things that we can say here on Lac Sports Network. Another face-off win for Tom Myers. A give and go. Myers shot sails high. Interesting. That's the second time we've seen Myers line up for a shot. He doesn't have a goal yet this season. And then a caused turnover here along the end line. Sean Quinn gets it. And a loose ball scooped up by Drexel.
I think Myers might have been taking notes on Marshall King's goal. That was a really nice little slip and go. Just wasn't able to catch that and get his hands free. If he could get his hands back a little bit, that might have been a nice shot. But good job by Drexel and getting the trail check in.
But what it means is another non-offensive set for UMass, and Drexel gets a chance to go back to work.
As you mentioned earlier, this UMass team, though, so dangerous in transition. So if they can get the ball to the ground, and Coach Cannella mentioned he thought they were a little less aggressive than he would have liked last game, so he wants to see them be a little bit more aggressive on the ball.
Mailman again with that split dodge. Back to King. Mulcahy finishes in front. Another one for the Dragons. It's 5-1.
And that is just classic lacrosse. Dodge hard, draw, slide, move it twice, find the open man. It's nothing spectacular. You see the double team, they move the ball once, they find the inside look instead of keeping it going forward. It's very simple game if you execute well, and that's what they've been doing every possession on offense is they're executing, and that's the difference right now.
What a start for Drexel. They've scored 4 straight. They've got a 5-1 lead, and in the one goal they still have a problem with. This has been about as good of a start as you could ask for the Dragons.
And UMass still doing well at the faceoff X. Now they just need to make sure they capitalize when they get these opportunities. Again, getting everyone to get a touch, getting a couple different dodgers and spinning the ball is what they need to do over these next few minutes. You're a guy like Prosek, you haven't seen the ball in what probably feels like hours. We got to get the ball at least into his stick, even if he's not taking a shot. Get him moving, get him to feel like he's part of the offense.
Yeah, you have to think that guys like Trainer, Chris Conley got to get involved here for an offensive set for the Minutemen. This is Spencer working from X, kicks it back out to Tobin. Tobin with 5 points in his last 2 games. He's really come on as of late. Trainer trying to get the hands free, draws some help. Now back over to Tobin. And he's stripped of the ball as it sails wide. And they'll say that's deflected. It'll stay with UMass.
And Travis, it just looks like Drexel is firing on all cylinders defensively, and UMass can't seem to create space for each other. They're dodging hard, but then they're running into their teammates. So they need to do a good job off ball of creating that space and alleys for those midfielders to dodge through for, and then giving them outlets to move the ball quickly to the backside to attack.
Nice physical play there by Christopher Friedman, and it causes a turnover. Quinn there for the loose ball. And a chance to set things up for the Dragons once again. Sean Quinn, a second-team All-CAA defenseman, and he's got a couple of ground balls here early. Interesting to note something that Drexel's doing at the other end. They're short-sticking Chris Conley, one of the top offensive players for UMass.
The coach mentioned they might try that look. Clearly, I think they're probably going to stick with it at this point.
It's worked so far. Here's Mulcahy at the other end. Scored that last goal for Drexel.
And this is where they've tried a couple things. They get out of their offense. This is where you want to settle it back down, work it around, and try to spread that defense back out.
Tough angle for Reed Bowering, but the rebound comes out to Mulcahy. Swung around to Fox. Fox stripped of the ball. Isaac Paparo gets a stick in there, but Fox somehow keeps it. Moved along to Varian. Stopped by Scanoni on the doorstep.
And they needed that. Scanoni needed that save, and UMass defense really needed that from him. So huge save. Great ball movement there by Drexel. I'm so impressed with them right now. They're playing with a pace and a efficiency that's amazing.
Mailman from downtown had to get a shot on because that apparently did not get a piece of Scanoni on the doorstep. From our angle, it looked like it did. Instead, no shot clock reset. And so it's a shot clock violation on Drexel. Good defensive hold for UMass.
UMass got lucky there. They were offsides by a step, but it looks like they jumped back onsides just in time as the ball went across.
What do you do here if you're the Minutemen? Because as we take another look at this save, it looked like maybe it got a piece. It looked like it had deflected, but the ref's saying no. How do you get into a rhythm offensively through almost the entire quarter?
I think the big thing is making sure that you're getting everyone touches and working the ball around and not getting away from your game plan. That's, I think, what becomes an issue is guys start squeezing their sticks thinking, I have to do it all. And we saw one time early, Trainer tried to run through two guys and they turned the ball over. It might have been Tobin, turned the ball over. But they need to make sure they stick to that team-based system and chip away. There's a ton of time left.
20 seconds on the shot clock here. It's Chris Conley. He's got his man hung up.
And this dive is...
And he stepped in the crease. He slipped. It's been a little bit of a drizzle throughout the afternoon. Turf's a little wet, and he slipped and stepped on the crease. And that is another turnover here for UMass. Already 7 turnovers on the afternoon in this first quarter.
Coach Volker said they're going to dare Connolly to dodge him. He said he's an unbelievable scorer, and when he's around the crease, he finds those seams, but he hasn't really broken his man down one-on-one, and so he's going to challenge him to do that. And right there, he had a chance with a hung defenseman to maybe get that dive shot, but steps in the crease before he's able to do that.
Only about a 4-second difference between the shot clock and game clock, so Drexel can essentially hold for one here. And this is the spot where Colin Mailman, we can get a full head of steam. We've seen his ability really shine brightly. Down to Bowering. Skip pass across to King, saved by Scanoni. And a loose ball scooped by Paparo, the behind-the-back feed. And UMass has a chance to go in transition. Unsettled. Conley stripped away. Taken down. A loose ball won by Drexel, and that will bring us to the end of our first quarter. What a statement by the Dragons in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's kind of Coach's worst nightmare. He said this is exactly what he didn't want to happen, but at the same time, they've been here before and they were able to claw out of the hole last time. It's going to come down to getting their offense to get on the same page. They haven't been able to create space for each other. Their dodges have not really been effective, and then Drexel's got to give credit to Drexel. They're doing a great job one-on-one, and they're knocking down passes, or when UMass makes errant passes, they're getting the ball up and out quickly. So UMass just needs to settle in a little bit, run their offense, and make sure they can get on the same page to get some good quality looks, which they haven't tested Blumenthal yet.
And finally a face-off win for Jimmy Koida, but it's stripped away by the Minutemen and a possession for UMass. Kind of the opposite of what we saw for most of the first quarter, where UMass was winning face-offs, but Drexel was causing turnovers. This time it's vice versa. And the Minutemen get the first possession of the second. Give a lot of credit to this Drexel defense. Throughout, at times this season, they were the real question mark on this team, but they've solidified themselves down the stretch of the season.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of veteran leadership up as you move up, but it starts with a freshman in net, and sometimes that takes some getting used to. The communication piece is such a big element.
Tobin gets free, a save by Blumenthal. And that's big for the freshman. We were talking with Coach Volker about that specifically. For Blumenthal, if he has had actually some slower starts, but when he gets a couple of saves early, especially as a freshman, builds that confidence, and that's key.
Yeah, and that the thing with confidence on the defensive end, it's so cyclical, because once the goalie's confident, the defense can start pushing out a little bit more, being a little bit more aggressive, and then that lets him see shots that are even easier to see. So look for them to build off each other here.
Fox spins at the top, dishes off to Mailman, down to Varian. Tries to get free, but it's stripped away before he could get the shot on. Jackson Subak there with the play.
Nice job there, breaking down, not falling for that little underneath swoop move or the face dodge.
Trainer somehow gets out of a triple team. Unsettled situation, and Trainer airmailed the pass.
Surprised there wasn't a flag down. There's a lot of sticks swinging, but we haven't had a penalty yet. So it looks like the refs are going to let him play unless it's egregious.
And check out Trainer. Somehow gets through 3 different Navy jerseys.
The third baseball bat swing is the one that I think the UMass sideline was putting their arms up.
And there's the flag. We've got a flag down and a free possession here for the Dragons. And this Drexel man-up unit is one of the best in the country. They're sitting there at 50% on the season. That's number 3 in the NCAA. big reason is the King, Bowering, and Varian trio at the top.
Well, and one of the things that Coach mentioned, they were 0 for 3 against UMass late in the game on man up, and King was not in. So that offense goes, that man up goes through him.
Physical play, loose ball comes down to Varian, still loose. Remember, penalty is coming as soon as UMass can touch this thing up. And they do, and this will trigger the penalty.
And they got him for a hold here. This is one of those where you're UMass, you're saying you're not going to call the slash as trainer gets baseball bat swung, but then you're going to call us for a hold. That's a tough one.
Call comes against Dan O'Brien, the long stick midfielder.
And he got up under the chin. It was a light tap, but whenever the helmet comes up and exposes your face, you're usually going to get a call on that one.
Sometimes just an unlucky break. So our first look at the man-up unit for the Dragons. As I mentioned, 50% on the season, one of the best in the country. This is Ryan Genord. Sends down low to Chris McClellan. King working at the top. Shot is kind of didn't get all of it, Matt Soren, and Scudoni with the easy save.
A nice job collapsing in on that crease. By having Marshall King at the point, the top center spot, that really stretches the defense because they got to worry about him as a shooter, but then he can feed the inside. So nice job by the backside defenseman collapsing in and making it so that shot was, I don't know if he meant to try to pass that back out or shoot it, but either way, it was an easy scoop up for Scudoni.
And we are back to even strength as the penalty is released. UMass has gone more than a quarter now without a goal. Last they scored their only goal a couple of minutes into that first quarter. This offense just hasn't had a lot of opportunities. Kevin Cutnella, cross crease pass, and it's finished by Devin Spencer.
I was about to say, and if you ask the Drexel, they haven't scored any goals, but that was a great extra look, and what a job of not taking that shot, but finding the back door by Cutnella. Such a just a smart heads-up play there. He sees the slide come to him. He knows he's going to have a teammate right there on the backside, and Spencer does a nice job of just putting in an easy layup.
Cutnella broke his stick on this feed. Gets the check that comes across, and you see Cutnella's kind of holding the stick like, ugh, I guess I need a new twig. But he'll take the assist. Devin Spencer has his 18th goal of the season.
And that's an important goal there for UMass. That 3 goals feels a lot more surmountable than a 4 or 5 goal spread. So that's a big one, and to be able to get a stop down on the other end, man down, that's a big momentum swing for UMass here.
And that's a face-off violation on the Minutemen. Gives it to Drexel. Just the second face-off win the Dragons have won at the X. We've had a bunch of different scrums throughout, but just the second true face-off victory for the Dragons. Here comes Colin Mailman out of the box. So dangerous, rings the post. It resets the shot clock. Big loose ball scrum. Paparo with a big hit. And it's scooped forward.
Paparo, it looked like he almost barehanded that one, and I think it was one of those where he didn't realize that the ball was still in play. Big hit there. Nice job playing the physical lumber inside, and that's what UMass needs. They need to feel like they're not back on their heels but up on their toes, and it seemed to me that every loose ball, Drexel was the first 2 in the first quarter. And now UMass is starting to take those initial steps and beat those one-on-one ground balls.
King once again operating at the top of the box. Fox bodies his way down the alley. Now Mulcahy diving across, doesn't get through. The loose ball, though, is won by Varian. And it's been that kind of half so far. A lot of loose balls finding Drexel sticks. Reed Bowering had the short stick matchup, draws the slide, and now Drexel has a chance to get UMass moving. Shot well off from Fox.
UMass's defense, they also seem to be a little bit more on the same page. I think they're starting to talk, and they're also recognizing that slide and trying to send that a little bit earlier, and that's made the difference this quarter. I also think Drexel was moving the ball so quickly as soon as they saw that slide in the first quarter. as fatigue sets in, as UMass starts to do a better job on their second slides, that becomes more difficult.
This is Varian, skips back out top to Mailman. Little shimmy shake, shot wide. Seems like whenever Mailman wants to get a shot, he seems to be able to. What a great athlete in the midfield.
Yeah, that shot he took before this one, prior to this one, hit off the crossbar.
Fox to Bowering, deflected, but it finds its way all the way to King. Creative pass, skipped across to Varian, saved by Scanoni.
Yeah, this UMass defense is starting to find their rhythm. You can see that second slide and the recovery is the key. They're able to, once they make that slide, they're recovering back to the backside and then keeping their sticks in lanes. They knock down that pass, making that easy skip difficult.
Already 6 saves for Scanoni. That backhand finds it past him. A pretty finish from Matthew Varian, and he has a hat trick.
And Varian with a little scoop shot there. That's one that is very frustrating. Scanoni felt it hit him, thought it bounced up over the net, and then it just trickled over his shoulder. But that's a tough one. You know, I think that's pretty good defense. That's where you want to send him. The slide was there. I might have actually sent Jackson Subok there because he was there. He's kind of in no man's land. So just go, right? Go to that. But it's difficult when he just throws that right over the shoulder.
Yet another point for this vaunted attack unit for Drexel. Varian's got 3 goals and an assist. King with a goal and an assist. Already 6 points for that talented trio up front. And Reed Bowering, the second leading point scorer, doesn't even have one yet. Big offensive possession here as Jeff Traynor gets free. And the pass is just a little high. It's been that kind of first half, just not crisp yet for UMass.
Well, something's going on with Jeff Traynor's stick. That's the 3rd pass in a row. He's fired high, so he might need to pull the strings a little bit tighter there. He's doing a good job of getting the ball out of his stick. Now he's just got to get it accurately so they can keep spinning it.
It's already the 10th turnover of the first half for UMass.
And the pressure that puts on him is twofold. Because they have two-way middies, you see Traynor's getting back now, so he's not going to have fresh legs if they do get it back up on offense. So that's another kind of double-edged sword there when you have those two-way middies.
Mailman gets free, and he finds the back of the net. Colin Mailman's got a pair.
And Travis, you know what's impressing me right now is the variance of shots that they're sending Scanoni's way. This is just a nice move, and then he puts that one 5-hole, right? So changing up those shots, shooters do such a good job of knowing where to shoot, changing that up, and knowing the scout on the goalie. Scanoni does such a great job of moving his body, moving his stick, but catches him, frees him, puts it 5-hole there after the last 3 shots he had taken rung off the top crossbars or pipes.
You know, I took Mailman maybe as a jazz fan, but he went with the air guitar. You know, the Mailman, Karl Malone. Apparently he's a rock and roll fan. That was really bad.
I'll let the joke speak for itself.
A face-off win here for Drexel. We've got a whistle. And ball stays with the Dragons as Jimmy Coita gets another face-off victory. 7-2, Drexel in the lead here midway through the second quarter. Remember, they led 6-2 in the first half, the first meeting between these two about a month ago. Mailman really feeling it.
Yeah, there's a level of confidence right now that Drexel is exuding in the offensive end, and that's what makes them so dangerous is when they got guys like Colin Mailman who are putting it in from different spots, and then you still have Reed Bowering who hasn't scored. You still have Marshall King. There's so many weapons they have when everyone's clicking.
King back to Mailman. He has liked all of his matchups so far tonight. This is a Drexel team that missed the CAA tournament last year for the first time since 2011. When we spoke to Coach Volker about it in the preseason, he said that really stung. And it's one of our goals every single year to make the postseason, and it's something they didn't do last year and has been a rallying cry for this team. They find their way back into the postseason as we've got a timeout here on the field. And they have a chance to win 2 games in 3 days and find their way into the NCAA tournament. Remember, coming up next here on Lac Sports Network, Mitch and I will be back here in Amherst for the second CAA semifinal between second-seeded Towson and third-seeded Delaware. Tigers defeated the Blue Hens in the regular season 14-12 with Grant Maloof and Brendan Sunday combining for 9 goals in the game. Face-off set for about a half an hour after the end of this game, so do not go anywhere. Lac Sports Network, your exclusive home for the CAA Men's Lacrosse Tournament. That should be another good one as we take a look at the Drexel huddle. Coach Brian Volker, in his 10th season coaching the Dragons, has won CAA championship back in 2014. This Drexel team looking to add another to the resume. That 2014 team, remember, went on and beat Penn in the opening round of the NCAA tournament. Kind of surprised a lot of people. That Quakers team was really good. Yeah,
exciting season for them back in 2014. You know, Coach Volker has had so many changes over this roster, but their offense has been so consistent. So these are guys that were on that 2014. They just missed that 2014 team. They came in the following year and have continued to build something that's pretty special on the offensive end. And you can see the level of connection between King, Bowering, and Varian, and they are all on the same page, and they're doing a nice job of keeping the whole offense involved. And that right now is the difference.
And you see Varian with 3 goals and an assist. He was left off the 2 all-CAA teams that were released earlier this week. Matt Varian learned of that yesterday as the polls were released, and maybe a little bit of a snub because he has been as good as any attackman in the country. It's tough, though, because you look at this list of guys and you see Ryan Tierney, the numbers he put up, and Brendan Sunday, Charlie Kitchen that we're going to see in this second semifinal. It's not like you just almost needed to make room for him because he has had such a good season.
Well, and you wonder how much is hey, this guy's a junior. He's got another year to do it, right? Maybe give it to a guy who's a senior. Give it to a guy who's so far up there, and then this guy has a chance to earn it next year.
Well, he's earning his keep so far with 4 points, as there was a kick save from Scanoni that resets the shot clock here for Drexel.
And there was Mailman again, I believe, for that shot. So he's continuing to take it to the rack, and Scanoni might have figured him out a little bit more, but he'll have to continue changing up his shot angles.
Here comes Reed Bowering from the wing. This is where he's so dangerous. Shot just a little wide. And he stepped in the crease. The Canadian so good at those tough angle finishes with getting his stick angle correct, but couldn't get that one on frame, and UMass gets a possession.
And this is a possession they badly need, and they want to, again, I'll come back to it time and time again, when you don't have possessions for a really long time, you need to get everyone to touch the ball, to feel involved, to make sure that they feel like they're part of this unit. So look for them to spin the ball around, get it back up top to Trainer, and see if he can make something happen.
UMass offense averages nearly 13 goals per game, kept quiet so far. Kevin Cutnell's pass a little off, but it finds the stick of Nick Roy. Tobin swings around to Jeff Trainer. And he's drawn a lot of attention from this Drexel defense. Tobin now to Conley. Moved along, one more to Trainer, stopped by Blumenthal.
And good save by Blumenthal, but I thought that was the best offensive set that UMass has put together. They dodged, they drew slides, and then they moved the ball twice to re-attack. And they need to keep doing that. And sometimes it takes a few times before you crack the code, but that's what they need to do offensively, and you can see that confidence start to build once they run that effectively a few times. And that's where you find the breaks and the cracks in the armor and are able to put those shots on goal.
Good start for the freshman Ross Blumenthal in the crease for Drexel. He's got 4 early saves. He had a career best 15 saves earlier this season in a loss to Delaware, a 15-13 loss. As Drexel team, the only team in the CAA tournament under 500 in conference, coming in at 2-3. But they played just about everybody tight. Moved along to King. Skip pass across to Fox. Winds and fires, and he finds a corner. Fox has got his first of the night.
The confidence with which Drexel is moving the ball, that to me is the story of this game. Every time they draw the ball, they quickly look up, they find the open man, and they move it. That's just a great skip look to the backside. And I don't know, that must have snuck right under Scanoni's foot from the angle I had. It's right on the ball. It looked like his leg was there, but as he stepped, it must have just squeaked under his cleats. Great shot by our camera team there. Just over the cleats, sorry, just over his laces.
Currently a 7-1 run here for Drexel as we got a big hit and a flag down. Christopher Friedman, the Dragon that hit to the turf. Jimmy Coita riled up. And if you're Drexel, you don't want to give anything back. This is an opportunity to put your man-up unit back on the field.
Oh yeah, that was hard hit from behind, turned into it. So I don't think there was anything vicious or malicious about that, but definitely a full-speed cross-check to the back.
That's an unreleasable penalty for a minute, so you give this Drexel man-up unit 50% on the season coming into this game. 0 for 1 tonight, but you give them a minute of opportunity here.
Yeah.
And your face-off guy is the guy in the box.
Right. So, you talk about having an in-home. He's probably also the in-home. So that's one of those guys that you'd like to have out there as you get the opportunity to win the ball back and kill some of that minute-long penalty.
So Dragons once again man up, 0 for 1 tonight. Shot and a score. A low to high rip from Chris McClellan.
Nothing complicated about that, just a nice job of shifting sets. They rotate into that 1-4-1 look, crash in the crease with two guys, which opens up those outside shooter spots, and McClellan steps in. It's like a three-point shooter in basketball. When you have all that time and all that space, you're going to make that thing pay.
And so now you've got your face-off guy, Tom Myers, in the box, so he can't come out to win this. So you've got a man-down face-off with your backup guy out there, and it looks like
Tyler Green is settling in, but I gotta imagine he's not the warmest right now.
No, he's
about 40-degree temperatures
on the sideline the whole, and he doesn't have any help for the wings, but able to win it. And there's Isaac Paparo, the All-American, right place, right time, gets it to Jeff Traynor, and he has a chance to run out the rest of this penalty.
Well, and that's how you spark your team right there. You come off the bench, you can see. Getting a little pound there from Myers. Myers says, way to go, man. Way to bail me out.
You got 15 seconds left on the extra man, but UMass has a chance to run the rest of that out. Not allow Drexel to score more than the one goal.
And this is one thing we haven't seen. We haven't seen any inverting from UMass. So Tobin's got the ball behind. This is the first time we've seen them bring a short stick intentionally behind, other than when they're getting that matchup with Connolly.
Back to even strength. Tobin rolls near side. Philpott gets through. Bounce shot goes. The mini strikes back for UMass.
And Travis, watching UMass previously, their midfielders are so good at getting that almost that hook around and underneath into the bottom of what we call the island. They do a good job of dodging, and then when you feel like you've pushed them to the spot, they hook back into the middle and get their hands free. So that is a spot I think they score a ton of goals from. If they can get that look over and over, that's something that's going to put a lot of pressure on Drexel to start sending slides there.
Billy Philpott's 15th goal of the season. A guy who is primarily just a short stick defensive midfielder last year has become much more of a two-way guy and much more of an offensive threat this season. Koida wins another face-off for Drexel.
And I might try putting Tyler Green out there. You know, he's 1-0 right now on the face-off win. It seems like Koida has got Meyer's number, so why not try Tyler Green out and see if he can do something?
Remember, this UMass defense is one of the best defenses in the country. Number 2 in the country, giving up less than 9 goals per game. Drexel's already gotten to 9 in this first half.
And they've shown glimpses of that, Travis, but they haven't been consistent with it.
Varian's got a short stick at X. It's got to be a favorable matchup, you think, for the Dragons. But Scanoni able to stop the skip pass. A little bit of trouble here for Charlie O'Brien, but he gets out of it. And UMass able to get over with a couple of seconds to spare. Not a lot of early offense for UMass has been available.
No, they've been content to slow it down, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see that change in that halftime adjustment that Coach Cannella makes. Look, we're down 6 goals or whatever it may be. We need to continue pushing the ball. If you have a look, let's try for it, right? But at this point, they do want to get their offense to get in some kind of rhythm and flow so they can feel like everyone's getting involved.
About a 9-second differential between the shot clock and game clock for UMass. Skip pass across. Corralled and a little twister finish. Charlie O'Brien gets another one back for UMass.
Travis, that's that low corner area, right? Just below the bottom of the
That's their spot.
Island. That's their spot. Good look there by Trainer. I think he was worried about overthrowing it, so he threw it a little bit low, but he beats his man. He takes that extra step to the inside and then beats him with a twister. That twister was a really nice job to get Blumenthal to jump up and then was able to twist it back between his legs.
Couple of goals for Charlie O'Brien in the first meeting, and he's got one now, and it's just a 5-goal difference as we're under 30 seconds to go in the first half. Big face-off here. Still loose. We've got a flag down.
The UMass sideline is not happy. They're calling that on UMass. That's a tough one. You know, Travis, everyone's in there. They're battling. Stakes are getting swung, and he's saying that he slashed him in the leg. That's one that I think if I'm Coach Cannella, I can understand why he's frustrated.
Another call on the face-off man, Tom Myers. And a minute man up for this potent man-up unit for Drexel.
I'm not seeing it, so I don't know if we missed it earlier in that replay or if they saw something that we didn't, but I didn't see that one.
Do you just hold this if you're the Dragons, get the opening face-off, avoid the opening face-off the second half?
100% yes. Risk UMass getting any kind of momentum here? Absolutely. Keep the ball, keep the 5-goal lead, and then keep the ball on your stick when you come out in the third quarter.
UMass got a little momentum back toward the end of the first half, but Drexel really impressive in the first 30 minutes. They have a 9-4 lead as we enter the locker room. What a performance from this Dragons offense as we'll get a chance to hear from Coach Brian Volker. An impressive start to this one. Second straight time here at Garber Field that they've been able to get off to a fast start. Of course, led 6-2 during the regular season meeting between these two. So as we start the second half, no face-off because there was a late flag on UMass at the end of that first half. Drexel held on to the ball for the final 16, 17 seconds. So they start with 40 seconds on the man up, and they get a chance to start with the ball. 1 for 2 on the extra man in that first half for the Dragons. 50% on the year coming into the night. A quick pass and a finish. Soren from Bowering. Drexel starting fast.
Well, it's tough when you start, like Coach Cannella was saying, when you start and you feel like you don't have the momentum or the juice to come out and then be immediately man down. That's tough. But that can also work both ways if you get a stop there. So that was about the worst case, but hopefully they can take that punch and then now they have a chance. Even up, can they go out and can they show that gumption and that excitement that it's going to take to get them back in this game?
We mentioned in the first half, this Drexel man-up unit, number 3 in the country at 50%, and they are now 2 for 3. It was one of the things Coach Volker spoke about on our coaches' call this week, how important it was for them to take advantage of UMass penalties, and they've done so far.
Yeah, I'd love to see a ratio of your man-up percentage to the number of Canadians you have on your on your offense, because I think those things are certainly correlated. Maybe not causation, but correlation is definitely on the map.
A couple of Canadians on this attack unit, including Reed Bowering, who assisted on that goal. And UMass able to win a faceoff and get a offensive look here that they desperately need. Down by 6 as we start this third quarter. And Traynor just forced it. He eyed up Tobin the entire time and just the hesitation.
Yeah, Traynor has certainly had a tough game. He's thrown the ball away a couple times, but he's also a guy that can get him right back in the game if he's able to start doing some things that he's normally the guy they rely on to do, which is dodging, beating his man, and moving the ball on. So I think the key here is just to make sure he keeps his head up, doesn't get down on himself, and continues to be the guy that they're going to turn to in crucial moments.
Speaking of midfielders who can dodge, this guy, Colin Mailman, had a great first half. A couple of goals, and he has got one of the most electric dodges you'll see in the college game. I was looking through our Instagram comments on Lac Sports Network on one of his goals in the first half. Miles Jones was impressed, and when Miles is impressed, that means you're doing something right.
Well, he's got such a quick first step. The key for a defenseman is to continue moving your feet after that first step so you can try to make up for it.
Tough pass from Mulcahy to Varian, knocked away, and it's a turnover for Drexel.
Nice job, Paparo there, getting in there. That's a tongue twister. And making that a difficult pass.
The All-American able to get a stick in there. How important are these early possessions for UMass in this second half, knowing where you are in the score sheet and what you were able to do in the first half?
I think it's more about just getting some confidence in something that's going to work. And that's ultimately, they haven't found a formula for success yet offensively. It's been a little hodgepodge and few and far between on the goals. So what can they do that they're like, okay, we can go back to that again? And Coach mentioned the invert. That's one option. The other thing is setting picks for each other to get them free, but then the key is going to be moving the ball quickly out of those, and that's what really has been the other issue, is they haven't moved the ball quickly out of their dodges. But you got to draw a slide to be able to get somebody open.
Kevin Cutnella draws the long pole and kicks it back out to Charlie O'Brien, who scored a goal in that first half. So did Billy Philpott coming downhill. Shot bounces high.
And using those picks, using that invert, that's another way to try to get an artificial advantage, because they haven't been able to get the one-on-one dodge to get the advantage. So using those opportunities to get your hands free.
6 seconds on the shot clock, and a late shot clock execution from Charlie O'Brien. His second of the night.
Travis, that's probably the third way I would say that you can get that one-on-one, is by isolating your man in a strange area. So you see he brings him down in that low area. If you're a defenseman, you're taught to either drive a man behind or force him up and out. When you're directly on the wing, it's a little hard to know exactly where you are once you get into that dodge. So nice job there. Does a good job with a little stick fake, and then is able to get that, pull that back. But Drexel needs to continue. The Drexel defenseman needs to continue on his hips there and trust that a slide's going to come instead of going for that big check on the fake.
And another face-off win here for Tom Myers. So UMass a chance to go make it, take it here, down by 5. Winner of this game, remember, goes to Saturday's championship game here in Amherst. Game you can also see here on LSN, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Meet the winner of our second semifinal between Towson and Delaware. Nick Roy gets it to Spencer. Back-to-back goals for the Minutemen. Here's the momentum.
Yeah, and the biggest difference that I'm seeing is they're dodging with conviction and they're moving off ball. Spencer wasn't just standing there. They're moving to different spots. They're rotating. You can see down low on the crease. He does a nice job of reading this. As the ball moves, he pops up, moves his feet, and is able to curl towards it to get a better angle towards that goal. So nice job. Little pick play up top. Draws that slide, moves it again, continues working towards the ball. So that movement of the ball, that movement of their feet, that's what they were missing in the first half.
Devin Spencer gets the goal. He's scored now in 4 of his last 5. Nick Roy the assist, and he's a guy who didn't see a lot of time for most of the season. Really came on as of late. He scored in his last 2 games and has really proven himself late as a deflection comes all the way through. Right place, right time for Reed Bowering, and the Canadian finishes.
Sometimes it's better be lucky than good. If you're both lucky and good, then that's a double bonus.
Off the face-off, that ball deflects all the way down to the Drexel offensive end, and Reed Bowering, who is one of the most talented guys with the stick in the conference, able to make a nice play.
And that's an unlucky break for UMass. It was a UMass player that goosed it forward, and then they had a chance at it to get it up and off the ground, and Sam Eisenstadt just missed it on the ground ball, and that's an unlucky bounce there, but lucky for Drexel.
That's some of that Canadian influence that comes into play. That's the 99th goal of Reed Bowering's career. He is only a junior. But UMass able to win a face-off, which is important, as they were able to get a little bit of momentum that was taken away by that goal by Drexel.
And let's see, Tobin's bringing his man down to that low wing where you feel a little uncomfortable. Try to get that underneath move and draw that slide and then move it quickly to the backside.
Billy Philpott lines one up. Race for the backup, won by Chris Conley. Another good look for UMass. They've gotten some better opportunities in the second half so far.
Yeah, finding those soft spots, finding those areas where Drexel's not quite as comfortable, knowing when to slide.
Tobin skips it across. Back out to Philpott, top shelf. Billy Philpott's got a pair today.
Ball movement, people movement. Ball movement, people movement. You beat the slide, you move the ball, you move it again, and you take a shot, or you move your feet. And both of those things happened every goal they've scored in this half. So that's the thing they need to start doing. Don't just watch a guy dodge. Watch him dodge and then create space for him, or move the ball quickly and then create space for yourself.
You mentioned Philpott before. He did not play a ton of offensive midfield last year. He's become much more of a two-way guy this season. Able to collect a couple of goals so far. Koida, the face-off win, bounce shot well off. It's the first time he's really been able to win it forward to himself and run free.
Yeah, and a little risk shot there. As long as you don't let Scanoni gobble that one up, you can take a hack at it.
Don't be surprised by this result so far if you're looking at this thing from afar. This Drexel team has played with everybody all season long. Got a win at Michigan to their resume. Played both Towson and UMass tough in the regular season.
All these CAA games just seem to be knockdown, drag-out fights. They're never just a complete blowout for the most part.
Drexel also has a win over Villanova that we saw here on LSN about a month or so ago. Fox saved by Scanoni.
And that's where Scanoni's best, when he's able to see the shot. Drexel doing a good job UMass doing a good job of forcing their man into shots.
Quickly the other way, transition gets going. Conley to Spencer. And this is where Scanoni makes this team so dangerous, because he makes it the save at one end and gets it up and out quick.
Yep, he sees that the whole way, scans the field in front of him, moves it up, and right now the UMass sideline is mobbing him. They're excited. This is the momentum. This could be the thing that they needed to get up over that hump. And now you're looking at an 11-8 game. This is a game.
Just like that, UMass has scored 4 of the last 5 goals. Drexel wants to take a timeout. And the Minutemen are right back in this thing. Good time to remind you, Lacrosse now is the only place you can get a complete rundown from the entire lacrosse world every night. Lacrosse happens 365 days a year. We have you covered for all of them with news, highlights, and analysis you can't find anywhere else. Lacrosse now, every night, 9 p.m. Eastern, only on LAC Sports Network and the LSN app. Just saw Coach Ben DeLuca of Delaware walk into the building. His Blue Hens get ready for the second semifinal here against the Towson Tigers. They will play, the winner of that plays the winner of this in Saturday's CAA championship game.
I saw Towson just 2 weeks ago, so not a lot has changed when it comes to scouting them, but face-off X will certainly be a question mark as Woodall went down in that game and didn't come back, so curious to find out if he'll be at the X.
Yeah, we will have to wait and see. That face-off X will be a question mark for the Tigers as we get ready for Game 2. Alex Woodall did not play last week against this Drexel team. Instead, it was McNallen at the X. We will see who comes out to start the face-off position for the Tigers in Game 2. But as for now, UMass, as we mentioned, scored 4 of their last 5. And a 3-goal game, they win another face-off here. The momentum continues to shift towards the Minutemen. What's Coach Brian Volker's message now in the huddle?
I think it's settle down and keep what we're doing what we're doing offensively. And then defensively, we just need to continue communicating. I don't think there have been any major breakdowns. They've just started maybe to get their sticks down out of those lanes or pack it in a little too tight, giving up those skips. So they need to do a good job of what they were doing in the beginning. Just don't get beat one-on-one, and if you slide, make sure you communicate through that recovery.
UMass continues to have the edge at the face-off X, but this one won by the Dragons. Loose ball scooped forward by Drexel, a whistle. And it'll stay with the Dragons. We saw it with Scanoni on that last possession, and Coach Volker told it to us this week. Scanoni's so good when you're stepping down from like 6 or 8 yards and he can see it the whole way. That's something you can't give him those shots, because a lot of times it ends up in transition the other way.
Exactly, and you look at Drexel's offense this quarter. They started out with the ball. They scored on a man-up goal. Their only other goal was that strange rebound off the face-off. So they haven't really gotten into any kind of offensive system yet this half. So this possession could be a crucial one for them to feel like they're getting back into the flow of things.
Mulcahy dishes off to Varian. 30 seconds left on the shot clock for the Dragons.
It looks like they've switched matchups, so Eisenstadt is now covering Varian. Decided the short stick probably wasn't the best matchup for him.
Well, he's got the short stick here. Skip down low. Bowering stopped on the doorstep. What a save by Scanoni. Big loose ball won by Drexel, though, and the offensive set comes back to the Dragons. What a stop on the doorstep.
And those in-tight ones, Scanoni's so good in tight. They talked about that 6 to 8 yards. You know, he's great on those inside looks, but I'm sorry, when he gets a good look at it, but on those in tight, he's so quick with his hands despite being a big body. Those are huge saves.
Another thing Coach Volker was saying is his ability to match stick for stick, and he did so right there up high.
Yeah, you got to change planes. Got to start out with that high fake and then put it low, or vice versa.
Genord's pass intercepted. It was intended for Mulcahy, but Isaac Paparo, the All-American, and he's pulled down. Loose ball, there's no flag.
Cannot believe that wasn't a flag. Nice pick off there by Paparo. They doubled him and certainly was high. Whether or not it was a penalty, that should have been a call of some sort.
And so the possession stays for the Dragons. Coach Canella heated on the sideline. You can't blame him. An extra opportunity here for Drexel. Let's see what they do with it. Bowering to Mulcahy. Can't get it on frame. Varian keeps it alive. Now Colin Mailman, who's drawn the pole, sends it over to Mulcahy on the far wing.
Nice job there, being aggressive, pushing out there on Varian, making it hard for him to get the ball. He's been so dangerous off ball. Nice job by Eisenstadt there.
And Scanoni has a chance to clear. Jeff Trainer all the way over to the other end to Billy Philpott, and they get it over with a couple of seconds to spare. Under 6 minutes to go in this third quarter. The top seed UMass Minutemen down by 3 against Drexel. They've trailed by as many as 7 in this game, trailed 9-2 in the first half. But they've scored 4 of the last 5 goals here in the third to get right back in this thing at home as the top seed. UMass 4-0 all time in the CAA tournament as the top seed. Conley showing a little bit of ability there, gets it back. Once again, Drexel going with the short stick against Chris Conley. It's been relatively effective so far, changing up looks for the star for UMass.
And he hasn't tested that matchup, and that's something I've been a little bit surprised at. And I thought he actually had a step there and didn't take it. He fed it. So I'd like to see him actually attack that matchup a little bit. If it doesn't work, that's okay. Ball's going to go up, your middies can scrap for it, but test that matchup, see if you can get anything going.
Another guy we haven't seen a lot of from is Gabriel Prosic, number 16 in white, one of the top freshmen in the conference. Spencer, bounce shot just high. And just 2 seconds left on the shot clock for UMass. And they'll roll it to the corner, and it's a shot clock violation on the Minutemen. A couple of good looks, but they couldn't cash in.
Both teams were perfect clearing this first half. So a lot of turnovers, but those typically didn't happen until after they got it over the midfield line. This is where maybe you throw a gimmick ride or you do something to try to disrupt that. Maybe make that a little turnover early, especially if you're UMass and you're still down by a few as you get late in the game.
Be interesting to watch how UMass continues to try to press out, extend that defense a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely does not feel like they're down 3. There's plenty of time left, but with the momentum they have, it doesn't feel like they're down 3.
Mailman's pass wide for King, but Fox right place, right time. Mailman had 2 goals in that first half. Under 30 seconds left on the possession clock.
Travis, one big difference, I think, UMass is getting out and covering players like Mailman further, so let him do his shake and just keep dropping in. As long as you pick him up high enough, that's not going to hurt you. I think they're doing that, and that's given a lot more time to their defense to communicate through the switches, communicate through the slides. So that might be an adjustment they made, or maybe they're just starting to understand the urgency. They have to get out and play guys a little higher up.
Varian with 5 seconds left on the shot clock gets it to King, and he cashes in. Another assist for Matthew Varian, and the second of the night for Marshall King.
Yeah, and Varian got a short stick matchup there again, and I think there was a little nice job on a little pick action, gets a short stick matchup. I think there was a bit of a hesitation there by Subak. He wasn't sure. He sees a shorty on Varian. He's like, oh, that guy's got 4 goals. I better get out on him. And so he takes a step towards his man, and that just gives Marshall King enough room to get his hands free. So nice job by Varian of freezing Subak in between 2, and then by Marshall King stepping down into that shot.
Remember, Marshall King didn't play in the regular season meeting between these two. He's got 3 points so far tonight. He's been a nice added bonus for the Dragons. In transition, shot saved by Scanoni. There's a long pole look for the Dragons from Charlie Maley.
And that's when you got that momentum. You feel like maybe you should just go for it, but I think you want to settle that one out, pull that out, because you have so much momentum going on your side. Why not let your offense keep doing it, keep going? They've scored 3 goals this quarter. They've all been a little bit different with the weird fluky one off the face-off, the EMO goal. They just found their rhythm with a little pick and backside look for Marshall King, so let them keep working.
You got 11 points from King, Varian, and Bowering so far. The guys, the knowns, getting it done for Drexel. Gabriel Prosick wanted something. He's been shut out so far tonight. Prosick was 4th in the CAA in goals per game, number 1 among rookies, averaging nearly 3 per contest. Conley tosses back out top, and now Philpott with the dodge.
Prosick, another Canadian who's so good at finding those seams. The key, though, is his teammates giving him those opportunities by beating their man so he can find those open looks and get those easy finishes.
From way downtown, stopped by Blumenthal. There's a long-range shot from Kevin Tobin that can't get by the freshman. Matt Klingus in some trouble, loses his stick, but he keeps the ball.
I believe that's playing without a stick. If you drop your stick with the ball in it, so that should have been blown dead.
Now, ball don't lie, ends up in the stick of Sean Scanoni. And that's where UMass is so good, the transition opportunities at both ends. Unsettled situation here, spinning stop by Blumenthal.
They've been pretty limited in that transition. Really only 1 transition goal for UMass, and look for them to continue to push here as they're down 4. But at the same time, they've found some things that are working offensively, dodging from those low wings, looking at getting those good hard dodges and moving the ball to the backside. So those are the things they're going to want to focus on when they get into those 6-on-6 matchups.
Nearing a minute to go in this third quarter. A trip to the CAA championship on Saturday on the line. Shot sails wide. Big hit, and that draws a flag.
Cam Harris coming, laying the body. Those are hits that I think 2, maybe 5 years ago you could get away with, right as the guy's taking the shot. But now, with player safety being such an important piece of the game, that they're not letting those go anymore.
One-minute cross-check on Cam Harris, the senior from New Canaan, Connecticut.
And hard to see, but that was probably fair. It looked like he followed through, if not high, then at least with his hands apart.
It was certainly delayed against Ben Spencer. So our first look here at the man-up unit for UMass today.
They called that one locked in, so this is a good opportunity for UMass to not just get 1 man-up goal, but a couple.
Trainer from way downtown. And Trainer looks to be shaken up a little bit. But he'll stay in the game. Is still 40 seconds left on this man-up. Prosick down low, skip pass is intercepted by Blumenthal.
And this is where, if you're UMass, you got to lock everybody off here and do a good job of talking through the onside responsibilities, because you have an extra guy so you can cover everyone, including the goalie. Just want to make sure you don't go off sides trying to get the ball back.
Fox pushed out of bounds, and it stays in, and here comes UMass. Conley all alone, stopped by Blumenthal, the freshman.
What a save. He is fired up. Look at that fist pump. Man, that is a backbreaker for UMass there. 1-on-0, actually a 2-on-0 with the goal. You saw he kind of looked like, should I pass this? He's like, you know what, I've got 1-on-0 with the goalie. And he fakes high and stays high. Blumenthal matches sticks. Great job. Big save.
UMass tried to get a little momentum back throughout this third quarter. They were able to. But the freshman, Ross Blumenthal, the 1-on-0, the 0-1, Blumenthal and the Dragons, 15 minutes from the CAA championship. Travis Eldridge and Mitch Belisle back with you for the start of the fourth quarter in the CAA semifinals. The 4-seeded Dragons 15 minutes from knocking off the top seed UMass Minutemen. And a face-off win there for Jimmy Coita, but a loose ball scooped up and it caused turnover for UMass. And that has been the theme throughout at the face-off X. No matter who wins the initial clamp and the initial draw, it has been a flat-out battle for it after that.
Yeah, these have been 6-on-6 scraps, and that is the intensity that you expect from a playoff game. So that's why the fans are here in mass, and no pun intended, and they're really enjoying this game.
Conley down low. Spencer was stripped of it. And it finds its way back out to Kevin Tobin, the midfielder. Chris Conley. Let's see how he responds, and that's going to be the legal pick there on Tobin as he fell down.
Yeah, Tobin, it looked like he was trying to get out of the way and stumbled in. That's a tough moving pick. He didn't mean to, but still got in the way as he was moving his feet.
It'll be interesting to see how Conley, the standout sophomore for UMass, responds. Came into this game #1 in assists and points on this Minutemen team, but he was stoned there at the end. Transition chance for the Dragons. Sean Quinn. That's the first goal of the season for the long pole.
What a time to get your first goal. Nice job bringing it down the middle. Recognized he had a step, and it looked like Trainer was on him. Trainer felt like, okay, he's not going to the rack, and then he just keeps going. With that long pole, he does such a good job of just keeping it straight up over his head. So the only option, if you want to try to check it, is to jump and dive, or to go for something that might be called a slash. A really nice play there. He's able to just bury that high to low. Very difficult for a goalie to read.
That's a little taste.
I would imagine. I don't do that stuff.
That's a little taste of your own medicine for UMass, is that is something we see UMass do so successfully, but Drexel able to get a transition goal. But a face-off win here for Tom Myers, an important one, as UMass is now down 5. Conley, another stop by Blumenthal.
And they're calling a push here on Drexel. That's a really tough call. I thought that was a nice dive attempt there by Connolly, but clearly if he's diving, it's tough to give that call as a push.
Looks like Will Stabbert's going to the box for Drexel.
Oh, he's saying he hit him in the head.
That's a 1-minute penalty, so UMass goes back on the man up. Let's get another look.
I didn't see him touch him.
I think the head of the stick was coming right toward his helmet as Conley was diving back across the other way. So Will Stabbert in the box. UMass a big opportunity to try to get back in this thing and answer Drexel's first early fourth quarter goal. From downtown, Prosick. He's a man-up machine. That's his 9th man-up goal of the season, and he gets UMass back within 4.
The speed with which Prosick got that out of his stick and just stuck it in that top corner. I think that's what they need to do, is get the ball around a little bit quicker and take those shots. And you see here, steps in, gets his hands free, and just fires that thing high. So great shot there by Prosick. Getting that space in that time, that's something that he needs, and once he has it, though, he's so deadly.
The only guy better in man-up goals in the CAA this season than Prosick is actually the guy on the other end, and Reed Bowery. At double-digit man-up goals this year with 10 of them. Prosick now with 9.
More evidence to support my Canadian theory.
There you go. Just have a bunch of Canadians. Your man-up unit's going to be terrific.
Recruit 6 Canadians for man-up.
The other 2 or 3 guys don't even have to play during 6-on-6. Just bring them in.
Well, if they can add something to full strength, that's great too. I don't think too many Canadians are going to turn down a chance to play Division I lacrosse as a full-time man-up specialist. And I don't know too many lacrosse players, period, that would turn that down. And because it was in the head, it looks like
this is a man.
Stabbert's still in the box.
Yeah, this is a man down face-off for Drexel. Whistle. And UMass gets possession. So still 28 seconds on the extra man. And the Minutemen can see if they can add another one.
Travis, there's still plenty of time, but you do need to have that sense of urgency, especially because their goals are not coming in bunches. They're coming one at a time, overtime. So they're going to need to make sure they keep putting the pressure on to score as they can.
Tobin lost it. And Blumenthal collects. And just like that, we're back to even strength. 1 goal on the extra man for UMass. Colin Mailman races in. Backhand finish. The refs are talking about the dive, and it is good. Colin Mailman's got a hat trick.
Travis, I saw that coming from a mile away. As soon as he was in front of his man, he knew if he just kept going, we call that water skiing if you're in defensive position. You're behind the guy. You can never get in front of him when you're behind him. So he does a nice job of turning that corner, and then that dive straight across the goal line. It's such an effective dive because, one, you don't dive towards the goal mouth, so you're clean there. As long as you don't touch the goalie, you can extend your stick all the way to the far side and just dump that in. So nice job there, extending, recognizing he had that step, and getting across to put that in.
The junior from York, Pennsylvania, has shown his full display tonight in the 3 goals. He's stretched the defense. He's shown the ability to juke and dodge to create his own shot. There he gets to the crease and finishes on a dive. Big hit off the faceoff. Jackson Subak laid the lumber.
And the Drexel coaches are going nuts, but that's a good shoulder-to-shoulder hit there.
And we've got the refs wanting to talk things over here.
Not sure anyone was watching the ball. Everyone was watching the big hit. So I'm not sure who that went off of.
Yeah, Subak came in and laid the lumber on George Grippo. And UMass is going to end up with the ball here. So Subak's big hit creates an offensive opportunity, and a big one for UMass. They're down by 5 as we inch toward 12 minutes to go in this one.
They keep making these passes where they're losing. I don't know if it's nerves or what's getting to them, but they keep throwing these passes that they're bobbling or having a tough time corralling.
Conley in traffic, and Prosic couldn't corral it. Christopher Friedman quickly the other way, and he'll settle things down. This is a UMass team that came into this game red hot. They had, won 9 of their last 10. That only loss, an overtime loss to Hofstra in conference. They kind of let the pride back in the 4th quarter with 2 late goals. But this is uncharacteristic from what we've seen, especially the last couple weeks for the Minutemen.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the credit has to go to Drexel. They're just executing at a very high level.
Mailman again! There's a flag down. Is it an illegal dive?
I think this one they're going to call that he was going towards the mouth of the goal. Yep.
And that is our first illegal dive call of the night. No goal. It's wiped out. And this is the controversial part of this rule that has been implemented this year, is not only is there no goal and the change of possession, but Mailman's now going to go to the box for a penalty, and it's at the ref's discussion how long and if it's releasable or not.
And it's because he touched the goalie before the ball went in. That's what ultimately is the issue. And if you're a goalie, you got to go out and try to attack that player who's diving towards you, because you're in big trouble either way. So as long as you have him touch you before the ball goes in, typically you're going to get that call there.
So it's a 1-minute unreleasable penalty on Mailman. So UMass goes back on the man up, where they cashed in earlier this quarter, and it's an unreleasable penalty, so they can score a couple here. Once again, some high passes here from UMass.
Drexel doing a great job extending out and making those passes difficult, so it's not just easy pickings.
Trainer, jump and a finish. Jeff Trainer's first of the night. It's back to a 4-goal game.
And that's 2 EMO goals in this fourth quarter for UMass. But hey, doesn't matter how you get them, just that you get them. UMass has this little dunk play on that back door. They do a nice job with that, of sneaking that player down to the backside. I've seen different recipients of it, but Trainer, nice job there. He might have been able to put that in right away, but he does a nice job of ensuring that he's getting it in by taking that extra step to the middle.
Jeff Trainer now 36 points on the season, an all CAA first teamer on the list released earlier this week. And now there's still 35 seconds left, a man-up face-off for UMass. So if they can get possession here, they can continue to work on the man-up. Comes back into the UMass zone. A whistle, and that call goes against Reed Bowering. So still 20 seconds on the man up for UMass. Somehow get it across. Coaching staff for the Minutemen wanted a penalty. Instead, they'll take a timeout with 14 seconds left on the man up. UMass trying to find their way back into this thing in the fourth quarter. The top seed in the CAA tournament, the 13th ranked team in the country. They find themselves down by 4, 10 minutes and 23 seconds to go in this first CAA semifinal. Travis Eldridge, Mitch Belisle back with you here on Lac Sports Network. Still 14 seconds left on this extra man for UMass. They've already scored an unreleasable penalty on Drexel. Skip pass corralled somehow by Spencer with 2 seconds left on the penalty. One more from Spencer! The last-ditched effort on the man up, and Ben Spencer cashes in.
I love that bounce shot. The outside rip, I was actually just about to say there's no two-point shot. That was about from two-point range, but really nice job of coming right over the top, changing the planes, and that high bounce or something we haven't seen this entire game. In fact, I don't think we've seen that many outside shots, but everything we've seen has been high to high or low to high. So to change planes like that, make that a difficult shot, especially with a wet turf, you never know how it's going to bounce. That's a great take there. And a big goal, 3 goals. That's really narrowed the gap to something that's surmountable in 11 minutes, 10 minutes.
The California kids combining for that one. Devin Spencer finds his brother Ben Spencer for the bounce shot goal. But a face-off win here for Drexel. Myers has been physical. Myers causes a turnover. He didn't realize it. Conley comes to grab it.
Myers, just kind of a last-ditch effort there. I think he just got the perfect timing there. Didn't even realize he did it. And does a nice job of keeping the play alive, and they get the ball back. And this is what they needed. It's the second possession right after that goal. There's no magic bullet. There's no make it, take it in these scrappy ground ball face-off battles. But if you can get a couple possessions in a row, that's where you can really chip away quickly.
UMass has scored 2 straight, scored twice in that man up. Trainer stopped by Blumenthal, went back to that twister.
Nice move there by Trainer, got to the inside. Again, didn't change planes. He tried the twister, but wasn't able to change planes, and that's difficult.
Loose ball in transition. Drexel, and it's over the end line. Bowering couldn't grab it. Jack Farrell couldn't find his way to navigate things with the long pole.
He was caught between passing and shooting, and he held his head in his hands after he threw that. He knew he'd thrown the ball away.
Scanoni floating pass to Billy Philpott, but he makes a man miss.
Philpott's had some big goals.
Full head of steam, stopped by Blumenthal again. The freshman has really settled in. He's now double-digit in saves.
The only place that Blumenthal looks a little unsure is when he has the ball in his stick for the clears. Everything else he has been really, really strong. That's still the one area where it looks like he's, that's a high hit.
And Mailman got leveled by O'Brien here on the near sideline. But it's a turnover on Drexel, no flag down. It's the CAA.
There's been some head scratchers, Travis, some calls that I've been surprised at, and then some no calls that I've also been surprised at.
Toughness is not optional. Philpott from downtown never got through.
Big soak by the defense there.
Chris Conley wins a big ground ball to keep the possession alive. Gabriel Prosic was cutting toward the middle there, and he wanted it. Got a lot of different options for UMass offensively. Tobin sends it back to Conley behind, and the pass is just off for Spencer. It's really been the story throughout, just not quite sharp enough.
Yeah, they've been throwing the ball away a lot with unforced turnovers, and that's really cost them on some big possessions. So it's one of those things where you can blame youth, you can blame nerves, but at the end of the day, the team that executes, which right now has been Drexel, that's a team that's going to have success. With 7 minutes, there's still plenty of time to execute when it really counts, though.
Nearing the midway point of the fourth quarter. Past that point, 7 minutes to go in this fourth quarter, the first CAA semifinal. The second one still coming your way here on LSM between Towson and Delaware. Skip pass across to Marshall King. Another one for the King. He's got a hat trick.
That's another one that I think Scanoni got a big piece of with his stick. It looked like it hit off the bottom of his stick and went down, but nice job. I really like that dodge by Nick Fox. He really continued to drive down that alley, and that was able to give him the time to roll back. He finds that skip lane across to Marshall King, and that is one area that has really hurt this UMass defense is skip passes. Those skip passes, especially when you got shooters like Marshall King, shooters like Colin Mailman, that's really dangerous, and so you got to get your sticks up in lanes, make those difficult, or stay on pressure when you do slide so they can't throw those.
This is the most goals UMass has given up all season with 15. It's the UMass defense, number 2 in the country entering tonight, giving up less than 9 goals per game. Drexel did that in the first half. And we've got a flag down, 2 flags down. Drexel keeps it, so this is a free possession. Minutemen are going to go down a man here, maybe down 2.
Coyta, what an effort by Coyta to run out of that. Does a nice job of tucking his stick, and that's always the borderline between chesting it and keeping it tight. But he continued moving the ball and cradling it, ran out of pressure, and drew at least 1 flag.
If you're Drexel, you eat up a lot of time here on the shot clock. You can take it down another 40 seconds if you want. You can hold on to this thing the whole time if you feel like it.
Yeah, they're having some effectiveness with their settled 6-on-6 offense, but like you said, you might as well kill another 30 seconds here because you know you're going to go man up. Looks like they might have gotten a flag on a slash and then another flag on a late push out of bounds. So I think we will end up seeing a 6-on-4 here at the end.
King across to Bowering. I think Scanoni helps get a piece of that to push it over the bar. And that will trigger the penalties. Yeah, Coyta getting some props on the sideline for that effort.
Travis, one of the big questions here, you come out with the energy that Drexel's brought. Can they match that again?
So we've got an unnecessary roughness call for a minute, plus another 30-second push. This poor table on the sideline got drilled.
Got WWE style going on. Jerry the King Lawler diving off to the side.
Jimmy Coyta looks to be okay. So a minute 30 on the extra man for Drexel, one of the best units in the entire country, and they have made UMass pay throughout the night.
Both penalties are on Myers, so they'll only be down 1 man, but it's for the extra time is the issue. And time is not on their side here as they chase a 4-goal differential.
Nearing 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Fans trying to get in this one for UMass, trying to encourage this defense to get a stop. Remember, with the shot clock, it's still into effect with the minute 30 extra man, so you can't take this down for the entire minute 30. You would still have 10 seconds left, even if you just held on to the ball.
Yeah, and with the efficiency that they've got going on with their man up, you'd think they're going to want to at least take 1 or 2 sniffs at it.
And they start to go really with 30 seconds left on the shot clock. King swings it out to McClellan. 17 seconds left, 27 seconds left on the man up. Bowering trying to get into the middle there where he can dive across, and he's stopped. King stopped by Scanoni. 9 seconds left on the penalty, and UMass looks to kill it off. And maybe a chance to get some momentum from that stop. UMass goes back over the midline. Remember, you can do that in the first 20 seconds. And so they get the clear now, and now that it's past the 60-second part of the shot clock, now they have to keep it on the offensive end. Part of those new rule changes this year. Here comes Trainer, full head of steam, left-handed, and he stings the corner.
Wow, short side. That specific corner has taken some serious abuse in this game. Mailman, in the first quarter, they're just absolutely destroying that thing. But what a move. So this is what we haven't seen, this downhill dodge, being able to get his hands free, and a really nice job of just keeping that on that same side and beating him with speed.
And it looked like Sean Quinn just kind of dared Trainer to take it, and Trainer said, yeah, I'll be taking this.
Yeah, he was looking for that pick coming behind him, and then instead of closing back out on Trainer, he sunk in, and like you said, dared him to take it, he took it.
So back to a 3-goal game, 3:43 left. It's a UMass team that can score fast. The face-off X will continue to be a key point down the stretch here. We've got another flag down. Been a physical battle all night long at the X. And it's a man up coming for Drexel. The slash goes against the long pole and Dan O'Brien on the wing. Another 1-minute penalty, and now we're starting to get to a point where you take a minute off the clock here, you're now under 3 minutes to go, and you're nearing the 1 possession mark with the shot clock.
Sure, and I want to see Drexel be aggressive on this man up. The last man up that they had, when they kind of just sat back, you didn't see many good looks, and they actually sparked a little bit of transition coming the other way. They've been so effective on this man up. Why not continue to do what's working for you?
It's one of the great things about this Drexel team in the second half that we've seen. Despite having a lead throughout, they have not gone conservative a lot, and with the exception of that last man up, they've really continued to put the pedal to the metal.
And that's what's allowed them to keep maintaining that gap or extending it and taking a little bit of pressure off their defense. And here we see they're playing a little bit of keep away. I would like to see them attack a little bit harder, or wait until they really extend out and then attack so you have those gaps.
10 seconds left on the man up. Ryan Genord back to King. They play pitch and catch. Pass is high for Bowering, but it was deflected by UMass, so the penalty is released. We're back to even strength, but 16 seconds still on the shot clock for Drexel. They got a whistle and a timeout for the Dragons. They want to talk things over. This is a big final 16 seconds of the shot clock that can really either kind of finish off this game or keep UMass alive.
Yeah, and now that we're down to 15 seconds, I initially had said let's be aggressive, but now I would say let's kill this and get this down to almost 2 minutes and continue with this pressure and this possession. Even if you have to throw the ball in the corner, at least you can get your full defensive complement on and make sure you're playing some really good, sound defense, as UMass is going to be pouring everything they have.
Remember, we've got another semifinal coming up here on LSN, and then tomorrow here on Lac Sports Network, the CAA Women's Tournament gets underway with the semifinals there as well. First at 4 p.m. Eastern, it's the defending champion and top seed James Madison taking on 4th-seeded Elon. Then at 7 p.m. Eastern, it's the second-seeded Towson matching up with third-seeded Hofstra. Sunday at noon, the two winners face off in the championship game. It's the CAA Women's Lacrosse Tournament, only here on Lac Sports Network and on the LSN app. James Madison looking for a third straight title there on the women's side. UMass looking to go to another title game here for the men, but they face an uphill battle here with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. UMass came into this night 4-0 as the top seed in this CAA tournament. They won the tournament back in 2012 as the top seed. Also won it last year here at Garber Field as the #1 seed in the CAA.
UMass putting the early pressure with the double team. Somehow Mailman comes away with that ball.
Mailman's shot sails well wide with 7 seconds. It's backed up.
And this is smart by Volker, pulling off some of his offensive midfielders, getting some long stick D-middies on.
And it's scooped up here by UMass. Would have been a shot clock violation anyway. So 2 minutes to go. UMass needs offense, and they need to score in a hurry. Conley. Back out top to Trainer. Under 2 minutes to go now.
The Trainer has 2 on him, which means somebody's open. They just got to keep that ball moving, keep that ball hot, find the next stick. Something that Drexel's done really well.
Billy Philpott taking his time, sends it back to X to Conley. Spencer gets free, and it was stripped before he took it, and it's taken away by Drexel. And there is only a slight difference between the shot clock and game clock. The Dragons can sense this one.
Oh, that's an unlikely turnover there. Marshall King just took his eye off the ball for a second.
And so they stay alive, UMass.
Was looking up for the next pass. Man, that could be a tough one here.
They got to go here. Stripped away. Loose ball scooped up by Fox.
What you don't want to do if you're UMass is try to have guys that probably shouldn't be the ones taking it to the rack themselves. And that's what happened that last possession. Not that that's not the right person to dodge eventually, but just going right away is not what you want to see.
And Bowering got the ground ball along the sideline. He's pushed out of bounds, and it triggers another flag on UMass. Drexel can sense it now. Call goes against Sam Eisenstadt here as he was trying to pressure Bowering along the sideline. So 30-second push, 48 seconds left on the game clock.
And you want to talk about conservative on the EMO. They're putting a poll out there.
It's not going to help the stats, but I don't think they'll care.
You know, I have known a few long pole EMO specialists, and Matt Moyer, back in his high school days.
Scott Ratliff did it in the MLL.
True, but I think that they're telling him, don't get beat back on defense, please. Be an outlet.
What a performance here tonight by the Dragons. And they turn it over along the sideline. And 26 seconds left. This would be quite the heroic effort here for UMass.
Travis, 3 years in a row, the host has taken the bid. This will be the first year, 3 and 4 years, that has not happened.
We came into this tournament talking about really how wide open it was. This Drexel team has played everybody tough all season long. And they are headed to the CAA championship game. For the first time since 2014, the Dragons will play for the CAA title.
Ton of credit to the Drexel team. I thought they really executed the game plan well. They threw a different look down low at UMass's offense. They really limited their ability to beat them one-on-one, and then they did a nice job offensively of sharing the rock, making sure everyone got the looks they needed, and scoring from all different places on the field.
And they mobbed the freshman goalie, Ross Blumenthal. What a performance from him. Made 11 saves, including a couple of ones right on the doorstep. Really changed the momentum at times of this game, and he helps the Dragons get back to the CAA championship game.
Yeah, to rely on a freshman to make some of those big plays there, and I talked about his confidence with clearing still working, but in terms of between the pipes, in terms of leading that defense, he did an unbelievable job, and it's great to see a freshman step into that role and make those plays when it counts.
The rallying cry for this Dragons team throughout the season was they missed this CAA tournament last year for the first time since 2011. They didn't want that to happen again. They get back into the tournament, and now they'll have a chance to play on Saturday. So once again, your final score here from Garber Field. Drexel 15, top-seeded UMass 12. Drexel is off to the championship game.